And we are back to the fifth and the final segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this final segment, we are going to be talking about one of Tom Brady's luckiest moments in his entire career. He's had so many lucky moments. I've been teasing this segment for a while now, and now I'm actually going to do it. Before I start, I do like to give credit where credit is due. There is this channel on YouTube as well as this user on X, formerly known as Twitter. His name is Barry on here, and he does a lot of these NFL videos as well, and I got a lot of inspiration from him. And while these are obviously stats, I just wanted to give credit where credit is due and where I got this idea to do this from. So this is going to be, we're only going to talk about one of his moments, like, just one season where he was incredibly lucky. And I think this season sort of, encapsulates just, the entirety of his career. And if you guys want me to do this segment a little bit more and give you guys some more reasons why he was lucky, then I will gladly go ahead and do that. But we are going to go ahead and start with the segment. Again, this is probably not going to be a segment that a lot of you Tom Brady fans are going to like, because in your minds, you guys are going to think Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings. How on earth is he lucky? Well, part of winning a Super Bowl is luck. Whether you want to admit it or not, part of winning a Super Bowl is incredibly lucky. But we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to cover one season, and we're going to talk about the season the first season when he was on Tampa Bay, because a lot of people, they like to point to that season that, oh, this season proved that Tom Brady was not a system quarterback. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and explain why this season was lucky. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they ended up winning the Super Bowl in this season. And everyone, they love to say that, oh, it was because Tom Brady was there. And yes, Tom Brady did play a part in winning the Super Bowl. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But this team, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, was much better than their record last season, and they were also very talented. They had Jameis Winston at quarterback, and in the season before Tom Brady got there, he threw 9 more interceptions than any other player. He ended with 30-plus interceptions. First time that a player has thrown 30-plus interceptions since around the 90s, I want to say. It was a very long time ago since a player did that. But the Buccaneers were a very talented team. All they needed was a solid quarterback to get them over the top. And in this season, the first season with Tom Brady, the Buccaneers, they went 11-5. Brady ended the season with 40 passing touchdowns along with 12 interceptions and 4,633 passing yards. Statistically, this is a monster season. But I will say that Brady's stats were not as impressive as they might indicate. Tom Brady heavily inflated his passing numbers against a bunch of teams that did not make the playoffs, and he was also noticeably bad against playoff teams. In this season, Tom Brady had a 1-5 record against teams with a better record than 500 in this season. So, a team going against a team that was positive, Tom Brady was really, really bad. Going 1-5, that is not a good record. And to further support the fact that Tom Brady just wasn't all that important in winning a couple of these games and that he was incredibly lucky was the defense and the starting field position that the Bucs had in this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their defense in the 2022 season was ranked 6th in yards and points allowed per drive, and the team ended up finishing 4th in average starting field position. So why do I bring this up? Because this has been the story for Tom Brady's entire career, constantly having great defenses on the Patriots and being able to capitalize on that great defense by leeching off of some of the short fields that he gets. This component is incredibly overlooked, but it is incredibly important in explaining why Tom Brady has so many playoff wins and so much playoff success that other quarterbacks like Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees could not replicate. Like, this is incredibly overlooked. Nobody brings this up at all. When you talk about the Patriots, you only talk about Tom Brady, but you don't talk about how incredible that defense with Bill Belichick was and how great it was for the years that Tom Brady was the quarterback. No one talks about that. But regardless, as lucky as that was to benefit from a lot of these situations in the regular season, he gets even luckier in the postseason. So despite having an 11-5 record, the Buccaneers did not win the NFC South. And for the first time in Tom Brady's entire career, he had to go on the road for an opening playoff game, because when he was on the Patriots, that AFC East division was so bad that he would always get either a first round bye, or he would always get home field advantage in the postseason because he would automatically win his division. But of course, in his first playoff game, in his first on-the-road wild card playoff game, he played a team with a losing record. Of course. And it should also be noted that in the final season of his career, he ended up getting a home playoff spot with a losing record. Just want to throw that out there. But this team, the Washington Commanders, or the Washington football team that was called at the time, they also did not have their starting quarterback in this game, and they had to start Taylor Heinicke. Now, Heinicke played very well in that game, and he was actually able to lead the Commanders to a very respectable scoring game, but it was the defense that didn't show up. Now, Brady in this game, he had a fantastic game, and this was easily the best game of that entire postseason run. But I will say that, the receivers, they were getting wide open all night long. He had a clean pocket. Now, I'm not going to say that Brady got bailed out or was lucky in this game, because he wasn't, and he played very well. But he did what he was supposed to do in this game. It was the next matchup against the Saints where it seemed like he got incredibly lucky. So the Saints in the regular season, they destroyed the Bucs twice. And I was hopeful that the Saints would be able to do the job again. And there were so many opportunities for the Saints to just score, and win this game and break the game open and make the lead insurmountable for the Bucs. But of course, they failed to do so. So to open up the game, the Bucs went 3-and-out, but the Saints were unable to capitalize on those 3-and-outs, instead settling for field goals to finish the first quarter with a 6-0 score. And then the rest of the game is going to be summed up like this: the Bucs had 0 turnovers. The Saints had 4 turnovers. Drew Brees, who is probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the entirety of the playoffs, had his first truly bad playoff game ever against the Bucs. Of course he did. He threw 3 INTs, and he looked absolutely washed in that game. And it should also be noted that he was playing through broken ribs, but regardless, he was getting old, the decline was happening, and of course, he ends up playing his worst game against Tom Brady. Now, the Bucs ended up scoring 3 touchdowns in this game. Every single one of the Bucs' touchdowns was started inside the Saints' territory. The first touchdown drive for the Bucs was 3 yards. The second touchdown drive for the Bucs was 40 yards, and the third touchdown drive for the Bucs was 20 yards. That is a lot of touchdowns inside opponents' territory. Tom Brady in this game, of course, won it despite playing absolutely horrendous. Now, the reason why his stats looked a lot better than what they actually were was because of the short field position that his defense was able to give him. Again, all 4 of the touchdown drives for Tom Brady started in opponents' territory. Not to mention, the Saints in this game also dropped several terrible throws from Tom Brady that should have been picked off. Tom Brady in this matchup, he ended up only throwing for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was 18 for 33 on completions. Again, this is not a very good stat, and this is not a very good statistical game from Tom. And the only reason why he ended up winning this game was because of the amount of short fields and the turnovers that his defense was giving him. And it gets even worse. I alluded to this in Green Bay. I alluded to this Green Bay game in the last segment when I was talking about Aaron Rodgers. I said before that this was a very winnable game for Green Bay, but there were several miscues and mess-ups in this game that robbed Rodgers from winning this game that he played well enough to win. So to start it off, Kevin King gave up 2 touchdowns in this game, all in the first half, One of them was a mistimed jump, and another one was letting Scotty Miller score a touchdown on the final play of the first half. All he had to do was keep the defender in front of him, and he let Scotty Miller blow by him and score the touchdown. Now, Brady in this game won the conference championship despite playing terrible. His stats were 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 20 and 36 completions to attempts. So like that's 55% completion percentage. But again, he should have thrown way more than just 3 interceptions in this game. And Tom Brady's record in the postseason when throwing 3 interceptions is 3-1. Aaron Rodgers' record when throwing 3 touchdowns is, I believe, it's 6-2. Now, Tom Brady has a better win percentage than Aaron Rodgers does throwing 3 touchdowns. This is the second time that Tom Brady has won a championship game where a conference championship game, where he's thrown 3 interceptions. And this is like, it's unbelievable just how bad this game was. And it's like, this was Aaron Rodgers' chance to make the Super Bowl once again. But because of his bad teammates, he failed to do so. And it was very unfortunate for him. But it's like, this is ridiculous. Now, the next game in the Super Bowl with Kansas City, I'm sure everyone remembers this game. Patrick Mahomes was running around everywhere in this game. Like, the defensive line was giving Patrick Mahomes nightmares. And, like, it was alluded to that the Chiefs and their offensive line wasn't going to be as good in that game. But nobody, I guarantee you, nobody expected the Bucs to absolutely dominate on the defense like they did. Again, it was like a completely different game. Tom Brady had a clean pocket to throw the ball. Patrick Mahomes had to scramble around, running around left and right. No quarterback in the history of football was going to be able to win in that singular game based off of how the offensive line was performing. 0. There was no way on earth that any quarterback would have won. Now, Tom Brady in this game threw for 201 yards, 72% completion percentage, and 3 touchdowns. Sounds pretty solid, but again, in this game, Tom Brady did not have to do anything remotely difficult, and most of the scoring from Tom ended up happening in the first half. Through the second half, Brady did absolutely nothing because he didn't need to. The Bucs defense was absolutely destroying the Kansas City Chiefs, and they held Patrick Mahomes to 9 points. Everything else is practically secondary at that point because holding Patrick Mahomes to 9 points is something that's nearly impossible. And of course it happens to him, and of course his team benefits from that. It's like, it's unbelievable to me. But, in this game, the first touchdown pass that Tom Brady threw, he only threw 1 throw beyond the line of scrimmage. Then on the second touchdown drive, he had 3 chances to score a touchdown. So what happened was that there was a play that was negated due to a bad penalty, so that ultimately reset the downs. Then the Bucs went 3 and out, and then they ended up taking a field goal off of that 3 and out, but they got a third chance because the Chiefs ended up lining off sides. Yes, this is the second time that the Chiefs lined up off sides against Tom Brady in a playoff game. And after getting his third chance, he threw the ball to Gronk in the end zone. It was gross, it was disgusting, but that's how we won the Super Bowl. Incredibly lucky. Several moments in this game, in a lot of the games that I just mentioned, that could have gone differently and could have resulted in him losing in the end. And this isn't the only time that he's been incredibly lucky in the postseason. But that's all that I have in this 5th and final segment. I have no idea what that was, by the way, but that's all that I have. So thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Sports Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. If you want me to do another segment like that again, just let me know in the comments. Your support means a lot to us, so remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. As usual, We love to hear what you guys have to say during the show, whether it be a hot take, whether it be a burning question, or whether it's something that you're dying to share. We're all ears. If you really want your comment and or question to get noticed, I recommend using Super Chat, or you can use the link displayed below the ticker, gsmcpodcast.net, to send in your comments and or donations. That way, either or really help the show. That's all that I have today on this final segment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't